Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are absolutely shattering a very persistent illusion. You know the one? The idea that modern organizations are predictable, clockwork machines that can just be perfectly engineered from the top down. If you've ever watched a meticulously crafted 5-year plan literally burst into flames upon first contact with reality, well, you're definitely not alone. And here's the thing, it's not a failure of execution. It's a failure of the entire paradigm. So, we're going to explore a completely groundbreaking perspective today, one that views the enterprise as a living, breathing ecosystem. Let's get into it. Okay, let's unpack this quote for a second. For decades, modern management has honestly been fighting the wrong enemy. We try to govern complexity, we try to standardize it, and we try to just control it into submission. But complexity itself? It isn't the issue. The actual bottleneck is our inability to integrate that complexity. You see, when we try to suppress it, we're actually suppressing our organization's ability to perceive reality and learn from it. We are fundamentally looking at two entirely different worldviews here. Over on the left, you've got the fragile industrial age approach, the clockwork machine. This assumes that reality can be simplified, that authority sits neatly at the top, and that parts can just be engineered to run in a straight line. But on the right, that's the biological reality of modern enterprises, the living ecosystem. In this view, intelligence is distributed, adaptation is organic, and instead of fighting complexity, we actually inhabit it. Think about it. You can't just command a rainforest to be resilient, right? You have to tend to the conditions that allow that resilience to grow. So, here is our architectural blueprint for today's explainer. Section 1, the end of clockwork management. 2, the mechanics of structure. 3, the mechanics of movement. 4, the dynamics of evolution. 5, cultivating integrative capacity. And finally, 6, the emergence of adaptive capacity. Starting us off with part 1, the end of clockwork management. So, the traditional methods of trying to standardize reality are failing us, mainly because the world has shifted to a state of ambient complexity. In the past, complexity was kind of episodic, wasn't it? You had a merger, a financial crisis, a sudden market shift. You dealt with it, and then things went back to normal. Well, not anymore. Complexity is now ambient. It's the permanent, everyday background condition of the network age. It surrounds literally every single process, decision, and strategic choice we make. Technologies evolve continuously, information moves in an instant, and local decisions ripple across the globe in seconds. We are swimming in it, and we absolutely cannot manage a permanent condition using temporary crisis tools. Moving on to part 2, the mechanics of structure. To really understand the first pillar of our living architecture, we have to ask a pretty fundamental question. What actually exists? Like, what is there to channel energy and interaction into a stable, reliable pattern without just completely freezing the system? The key takeaway here is that structure is not the enemy of adaptability, it's the architecture of possibility. Think of a riverbank. The bank doesn't stop the water, it routes it. Without the riverbank, you don't magically get a faster river, you just get a destructive flood. Or think about your own skeleton, which is constantly remodeling itself based on the physical stress you put on it. Proper organizational structure shouldn't suppress freedom, it should guide it. It's this stabilized coordination that carries the load, perfectly aligning authority with the people who actually possess the local knowledge. Now, for part 3, the mechanics of movement. Okay, so with our riverbanks in place, we have to look at the currents flowing between them. In a living organization, what is actually moving? It's so easy to just look at an office and say, oh, people move or products move, but the reality is way deeper than that. Movement isn't just about activity or execution. In a complex system, movement is really about the propagation of consequence. When a decision is made, it enters this massive network of feedback loops. It circulates information and consequences across the entire ecosystem. And it does this in layered tempos. For example, information might ripple across the globe instantly, but financial capital might take months to shift, and physical infrastructure takes years to build. A healthy, living enterprise aligns these tempos. It ensures that the consequence of a decision flows back as feedback fast enough for us to actually correct our course. Bringing us to part 4, the dynamics of evolution. If we want to survive in the long term, we have to ask, what changes? Because in any living system, everything is continuously mutating, whether we intend it to or not. Change isn't just some initiative you launch on a random Monday. It is a permanent reality. Evolution isn't a one-off transformation program designed in some boardroom. It's the ongoing distributed experimentation of autonomous agents, meaning your employees learning directly from their environment. And the engines driving this? Openness, diversity, and autonomy. You need openness to absorb new information, diversity of thought to have a wide menu of possible responses, and autonomy so your local teams can just adapt on the fly. When a system is actually allowed to learn from reality, it doesn't just change what it does, it fundamentally changes how it works.
All right, part 5, cultivating integrative capacity.
Now, we all love to buy shiny new software or redesign an org chart, mainly because systems can be engineered, installed, and documented in a single quarter. But integrative capacity? That's the ability to weave all these distributed signals into a coherent reality, and that is exclusively performed by human beings. People cannot be engineered. They have to be cultivated. They require cognitive development and the exercise of real, actual judgment. You simply can't delegate consciousness to a dashboard. So integrative capacity is directly related to the cognitive development and maturity of the organization's leadership and its teams. It's the ability to hold competing demands, like, say, short-term profit versus long-term innovation, and metabolize that conflict without distorting reality or, shooting the messenger. If the people in the organization hit a point of cognitive saturation, if they haven't developed the maturity to perceive and integrate these complex realities, the entire ecosystem is going to fracture under pressure, honestly, no matter how brilliant your strategy is. And this is exactly why the human element matters right now more than ever before. Artificial intelligence is already externalizing operational cognition. It can write the code, it can draft the reports, it can optimize the workflows. Because of that, the remaining uncopyable competitive advantage of a modern enterprise isn't raw intelligence anymore. It's integration. It's human leaders exercising systemic judgment, holding the boundaries of identity, and actively steering the organization's gravity. Finally, Part 6, the emergence of adaptive capacity. This 3-step rhythm is the absolute secret to enterprise management in the modern world. Step 1, integrative capacity is deliberately cultivated in your people and your architecture. Step 2, adaptive capacity naturally emerges from that cultivation. You can't just force agility. It emerges when structure, movement, and evolution are perfectly integrated. And step 3, as you adapt coherently over and over again, structural integrity is accumulated over time. Basically, your organization becomes capable of remaining fundamentally itself while continuously becoming something totally new. Which leaves us with a pretty profound choice for the future of management. Your enterprise is not a machine waiting for the perfect instruction manual. It's already a living system reacting to ambient complexity every single day. The only question is, are you going to keep exhausting yourself trying to control it, or are you finally ready to cultivate systemic intelligence and inhabit it? I really hope this explainer has shifted your perspective on how to lead in a complex world. So look at your own organization, take these pillars, and start cultivating.